Welcome to Homecoming to Self, the journey. I am your host, Sylvia Morrison. This is a space for the woman who feels like something is missing, even when her life looks full on the outside. It's a space for the woman who has been strong for so long, but is quietly asking, what about me? Here we slow down. We come back to what's true. We come back to what matters. We come back to ourselves. Because you're not becoming someone new. You're coming home to who you've always been. And in each episode, through conversation, through reflection and shared wisdom, we explore what it really means to reconnect, realign, and rise. So let's take a breath. Just breathe with me. Let your shoulders drop and your body soften. And let's just arrive here fully. And let this be a moment just for you. I am delighted that today's conversation is a special one for me because we're not just talking about transformation. We're talking about what it really takes to reconnect with yourself when you've felt disconnected for a long time. And I have the beautiful pleasure to have the amazing Ann Klossing with us today. She's someone whose journey speaks deeply to the path of coming home to self. And I'm really, really grateful to have you here today. Welcome.
I am blessed to be here. And for your listeners, the opening that you do, I put my hands on my heart and just received. So thank you for that beautiful opening and relaxation. And that's what it takes. Put your hands on your heart and come home.
Thank you. Ann is an international best-selling author, a spiritual mentor, and you do beautiful work helping people release emotional blocks and reconnecting with their soul. I read through your bio, your journey, and what stood out for me right away is that your work didn't come from theory. It came from lived experience, especially your journey through depression, which led you into this deep path of healing work and helping others, especially women. And so when I heard you talk about your work in our earlier connections, interactions, meetings, and I decided to do this podcast, I thought you would be a good guest to have on the show. Because here we're talking about soul alignment and coming home to self, and that's included in the work that you do. So welcome. I'd like to begin here where can you take us back to that time in your life, you know, what brought you to this work that you do now? Any part of it that you want to take us to?
You mentioned the #1 international bestseller. That's The Women Who Shine. And that was a co-created book with Kate Butler. And it didn't take me long to write that chapter. And I describe it as like a deck of cards. And each experience in my life was a card that I really didn't want, but laid out. So it was card after card, experience after experience that built to a moment. So early on in my childhood, I had an experience with my maternal grandfather who fondled me. I was around 3. Then we had this period of just being a kid, normal growth, went off to college, got married. But during that time, that experience and how I packed around guilt and shame around it that I didn't even realize I was doing. And then I was raised in a Baptist church, Northern Baptist, which is a lot of do's and don'ts and fire and brimstone that doesn't suit me today. But that dogma, knowing that I was a sinner from the get-go, I was born a sinner. I don't believe that today. The sin is the experience and how we make of it. So then, we get married, and then I had a miscarriage, and I packed that around with me, and I wasn't happy in that marriage. I looked at the outside world as this is causing my unhappiness, and this is causing, I kept blaming and pointing the finger. And I had an affair in that relationship. Worse, I betrayed myself there. Not only did I betray the people in my life, but I betrayed a core belief of mine. That was deep down. I etched that. I pushed that way down and took it to heart. And then we ended up divorcing, and I remarried. And during that first marriage was where I experienced my first clinical depression. So I'm looking at my marriage is falling apart. The affair was very short-lived. He dumped me. I was devastated. So I had 2 relationships that failed. And and a lot of work pressure, and I spiraled downhill. And they no longer call that a nervous breakdown. They call it a major clinical depression.
Okay.
But I can tell you, it felt like a nervous breakdown. The thought process in my head, it was almost like lights were going off. So if I would close my eyes, it would be like these flashes of light, and it would go around in a circle. Flashes, flashes, flashes. And it was all negative thought, all negative thought. That was my first round with antidepressants. And then she put anxiety, Xanax is what she put me on. That really whacked me out. And I woke up and I could not figure out what day it was. I looked at I had a birth control pill pack there. I couldn't figure out what day it was, how many I'd taken. And it scared me because I thought my little girl could get a hold of that bottle and take those. And what would happen? And I down the toilet they went. You're not supposed to do that, but down they went. Done. So that first depression lasted about 9 months, and they had me on 3 different antidepressants, and none of them were really resonating with me. I would have health problems with them. And finally, I got off them with my counselor's permission, and I just exercised. I got into jogging and running. I got out of it, made a good mind decision to get the divorce. I was in a much better place and moving on. Thought I could put that behind me. I get involved with another relationship, remarry again to a narcissistic personality. And I called that relationship the perfect storm. And this morning I thought of him, and I love him. I've gotten to the point where the personality in the man I do not love. But the bright light, and on a soul level, what a place to be. And this is the first revelation for me. So I've been divorced for many, many years from him. The first healing came about with my grandfather, when I had to put it in perspective on a soul level, not the human suit, a soul level that said, I'm signing up, and I'm going to be the bad guy here. I'm going to be the perpetrator. And I don't want to do this. but I'm going to do it because it's going to cause you to go through a series of events that will put you on a path of why you decided to come here. And I love you so much. I don't want to do this, but we're going to get through this. And you're going to see me in the light for who I am. And I've done that. I still have. So to see him, we have come to an agreement when I meditate and I bring him in, I see a sunflower. I don't picture his own human earth suit. I see him as a sunflower in the sun. And that's very comforting to me. And this morning, it's like, why do you think of things? And now it's taken so many years. We divorced in 2013, and it is now 2026. I see my second husband in the same light as I see my grandfather. The personality I divorced. I forgave him, but the growth of coming home to self is to forgive yourself. How much guilt are you packing away because you got in that relationship? How much, oh, my apologies. How much are you blaming yourself for allowing yourself to get into those relationships? And that's what the meditation was this morning. It's like you allowed yourself to do it. Your soul allowed you another opportunity for you to get back on path.
Okay. So what would you say? Because I know somebody who is listening might be thinking, well, that was a big jump. She went straight from this to understanding on a soul level, right? Why this journey? But what would you say helped you to begin to come back to yourself from that?
So the second depression was with my second husband, and it was just a very caustic, toxic relationship that turned out that way. And reluctantly went back on antidepressants again. Had the same reaction. And it was the first time those drugs drove me to sit on my property and think of ways to kill myself. And then nature intervened and sent in a pack of coyote to get my attention. And I had an alpha male 20 feet away from me, not 20 yards, 20 feet away from me, get me to wake up. And I got scared. That was the first time I heard the voice of God within me. And it was a question, is this what you want? Is this what you want? Yeah. We can make it happen. You're struggling with ideas over here, but we can make this happen today. And they'll either get the job done or they won't, and you'll be severely injured. And it was like, no, I don't want this. And that was the first time, once I went screaming after them and got them, he kept coming forward. And finally I just started growling and yelling. And it was, if I could look at my higher self from above, I would have been laughing. But when I got my composure back and made the decision that, no, you have not soiled yourself, close. I stood there and I went, oh my God, you have created every experience. And I put myself on the trajectory of, you're not going through this again. Something's changing. I didn't know one. It took me a while. I started looking at self-help books. I was going to my chiropractor who put Louise Hay in my hands. Feel your body. It began there. Then he put mirror work in my hands. And I began there. And mirror work is a 21-day journaling, self-reflection, looking at the mirror. I couldn't do it. I got into day 7 and I couldn't do it anymore. So he also put me in the hands of Esther and Jerry Hicks. Ask and it is given. That book really resonated with me. And I got on, my acupuncturist had me looking up Wayne Dyer. And I fell in love with Wayne and Wayne's work and Louise's work and Esther and Jerry Hicks. And I took that book, Ask It and Is Given, I took it to heart, and there's 22 processes in here, and I started doing them.
Yeah.
So my advice to anyone going through this is first, you have to understand you are responsible for every thought. You are responsible for your beliefs, and you are responsible of how you react to life. And that I learned through Jack Canfield. E plus R equals O. Event plus your response equals your outcome. You can control your outcome at the point in time the event happens and how you respond to it. So I have since added to that is A plus P equals R. Awareness plus perception equals your reaction or your response, and ultimately your results. It's like 3 R's. So I have an accountability partner. She says, you are an awareness ninja. You are so aware. And that the depressed person looks at everything that is wrong. It looks at everything they've done. They blame themselves or they blame the external world around them. It's taking control of that. Your personality has gone rogue. It didn't go missing in action. It's just gone crazy. So if you look at the personality as a guide dog, and you are a soul, you're the person standing, and the guide dog is at your feet. That is the role of our personality, to keep the soul protected, to keep the soul safe, and yet to go out ahead and create and experience and keep the soul safe. But what happens is the personality becomes David and Goliath. The personality becomes Goliath, the giant. It's reversed. It's getting back. You've turned into a giant. I turned into a giant monster of thought. And none of it was true. None of it true. So the practice is becoming aware of your thoughts. And then when you do, what I found myself was I became aware, and then you shouldn't do that, Ann. You can't think that way. I beat myself up that way. And it's all things I think that one person needs. We're on our own hero's journey. And part of it is shaming yourself, blaming yourself, but being aware that you're doing it and then finding the grace.
That's exactly what I was thinking about for the person, because earlier when you said, this is your responsibility, and there is someone who is listening, who is thinking, this happened to me, and that happened, and that happened, and that happened, and you dare say that is my responsibility. What do you mean? Because then it feels like a judgment on the person who has experienced this. I didn't cause this on me, somebody is saying. So how do we distinguish between it is your responsibility and this is not a judgment on you?
Still working on that.
Yeah.
I am personally.
Yes, exactly. So good.
It's the skill. And that's what I love about working with you, is because you have a gentleness about you that can take it back to the perception of source itself, which is the non-judgment.
Yeah.
In my own case,
yes,
the discipline was needed. The discipline. I look at everything has purpose.
Yes, everything has purpose. And in the moments when something is happening to us, or we are in a particular circumstance or situation or condition, the person who is going through it, who is in it in this moment, that is not thinking, I did not cause this to happen. I did not call this. Right? Because we don't have that higher level awareness in the moment that it is happening. So it's the recognize. So just knowing that is after the fact that now that you have come through it, yeah, that you are able to say, and rightly so, that this happened, and because of this, I am able to, or I have become, and I have stepped into this work, and this is how this work is connected to that thing. But in the moment when you're going through it, it doesn't feel like this is my responsibility, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think what kept me, the grace that came in for me was I began journaling, and then journaling turned into automatic writing.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge for me was, remember that the little dog turned into the giant, that the connection became one with the angels.
Mm-hmm. And
working with them, and Archangel Michael in particular, I would journal and I would get answers to my questions. So one of the first questions was, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with me? And then the pen would answer back and the grace would come through. So then it's the perception, which is that A plus P equals R. So it was the perception that I had of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So developing an internal relationship with yourself was not going to happen for me because I put myself down. I was really good at that. I think I would, if there was awards, I'd be award winning in that category. And it was like the angels are like, no, think about it this way. Think about it this way. So one of the things that they had me do was upside down. That was a word that would come to upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, what's upside down mean?
That's right. Tell us, what is upside down?
Upside down is take the table and turn it upside down. Does the table look the same as when it's pretty and upright as when you turn it upside down and you can see the underbelly of it? You can see the bottom of the table. So what is your perception from there? And I was like, oh, well, how can I look at this relationship with this person or whatever event happened? How can I look at it through a new lens? So then you can try on compassion. You can try on, I call them God goggles. You can try forgiveness, which is all these emotions that are going through you, and trying on different lenses so that you can see it from a different perspective. So Byron Katie is an author of Loving What Is, and she has a process called The Work. And that is turning it upside down in a sentence format. So you're flipping it. Some people call it repurposing or reframing, but with her work is, and I'll use my ex as an example, to kind of, this is deep. It was harsh, but I'm going to use his name. It's not his real name. We're just going to be general, call him James.
Okay.
So part of the work is you write down what you feel is a truth. So my truth about that relationship was that James hates me. Mm-hmm. This is the problem. James hates me. Mm-hmm. Is it true? That's the next question you ask yourself. Is it true? And I said, well, yes, because I firmly believe that he hated me. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, now you get to turn it around. So turning it around is the same, to me, same sign as upside down. So turning it around is you insert your name,
okay,
where their name was. So then it becomes Ann hates me or I hate me. Mm-hmm. That was a truth bomb. Work done. it just hit me so hard that it wasn't about him. It wasn't about my grandmother or grandfather. It wasn't about this job or that job. Mm-hmm. It was all about me and the truths and misconceptions I had of myself. So when I put, I hate me, mm-hmm. that had me sitting upright, that had me paying attention, mm-hmm. and had me admitting that I did not like myself. So,
did it feel true to you that you didn't like yourself?
Oh, I firmly believed it. Mm-hmm. I did not like myself. With so much shame, so much remorse, so much mm-hmm. grief, yada, yada, yada. You're in that despair mode. That was a hard truth for me. And I had to look at it and say, okay, why? What is it that you've done that you do not like yourself? And it was because, well, you had the affair, you had this, you had that. And it's like, none of it exists anymore. So why are you holding yourself in contempt? No one had to punish me because I did it myself.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And for many of us who've come through taking care of everyone else, following all of the rules and making sure that we are holding the whole world together. And in the places where we have slipped or we have done less than we expected ourselves to do, we hold ourselves guilty for years and years and years, and we put ourselves in jail that nobody else knows about. Just we are the jailer and the jailed, and we're living there. And so that shows up in our lives in different ways. And we come to this place where, at this point in our lives, where we're saying, I don't know where I am. I am lost. I don't know what my life is going to be now. I don't even know what is my purpose. What am I doing here? Is this too late for me? Come home to who, to what? Doesn't mean anything to me. What can you say to the woman who is feeling stuck or lost?
It's a commitment with yourself, a commitment to do the work. And you can replace work with whatever word feels good for you. But it takes commitment to commit to yourself. So for me, my healing was through paper and pen, committing to that journaling time in the morning, committing to study on the processes. Yeah. So knowledge is good. And there's some person that came up with this. It wasn't me. I can't remember who was the person who coined it. But knowledge is what you learn through a book. Wisdom is what you've learned through experience.
Yeah.
So knowledge is up there, but wisdom is that extra step where you've gone through it. So if you can look at all these experiences as, this is wisdom. This is wisdom that I have gleaned from. And now I'm going to look at myself in such high regard, and I'm going to commit to these practices so that when Goliath comes up in my brain and starts telling me you're not good enough or you're too fat or you're this or you're that, you go, no, 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 Goliath. No, no, no.
Yeah. No.
You're love, and I love you. It's standing in the mirror and looking at yourself and really falling in love with yourself. It's the commitment to do that type of work for you, even if it's 15 minutes a day. If you're in the depths that I was at and you can only increment 5 minutes of your time, look at what happens with 5 minutes of your time. And can you incorporate what you learned in that 5 minutes of time throughout your day so that when you're going to your job and somebody says something that you just like, unbelievable, you can go back to that 5 minutes and go, oh, that's not mine.
Yes.
There's many ways, there's limitless ways that you can do the work, and not every. So I had a client that journaling was not her thing. Very creative.
Mm-hmm.
Doodling was. When she would doodle, all of a sudden she would connect with her inner self. And we worked on some past life stuff. And as she did these doodlings, she invited that lifetime in. And in the doodling, all of a sudden, when she was done with her doodle, she'd flip her paper over, the automatic writing came in. And she would share those with me.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom for everyone. There's so much that comes through. It really is. It's like, share the wisdom that comes through.
Mm-hmm. It's for everyone.
And transformation is about phases, because it's like when I finally got that, our thoughts become things, then it's like, everybody needs to know this. Not everybody's ready for it.
It's fine.
Your excitement is not welcomed by others.
Not everyone. That's right. So let's touch a little bit more on your work. You just mentioned about, working with your client. Tell us, as I read through your bio, one of the things that you mentioned in your bio is that you do channel clearing.
Yes.
Tell us some about that. What is that
I asked you about from one of the programs that I dove into for my own healing was Jack Canfield, and it was called Reignite Your Life. And out of that, you look at all areas of your life and you score them. What's bringing you joy, what's not bringing you joy, where you're at, without judgment. But it gives you a marker. So we would get accountability partners. And this lovely lady said, you're a channeler. I'm like, what? It's like, I am not. So she's like, channel for me. And I'm like, that's not how I work. So she's like, fine. She goes, write it down. And then you call me. It was like I had an hour, and then I had to call her back. So I channeled her higher self, her soul, and then brought the information through. And she's like, everything is spot on, Ann. And I'm like, what do I do with this? She says, channel clearing, that's your platform. Because she was taking a download for me. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I was so timid. I had no confidence. So I met another man from India, and he's like, you're going to put out there in the group, you're in a safe space, that you're offering 10 channel clearing spots for free. Mm-hmm. And I did. And within 5 days, they were all taken. And it forced me to do it. So since that time, I've learned to channel to where it comes through me. But with my clients, I still take the time to do the automatic writing, because when I'm in that zone, you're not getting me. You're getting creation itself. You're getting your higher self. So channel clearing are like, your soul knows what you need. So your soul is only going to provide the information that you're ready to do the work with. And we will go through a healing. Sometimes we do past lives. I never know what's going to come through. Sometimes it's present day things that you have not processed. Maybe it was something from your childhood. Maybe it was something you just went through and you just can't move beyond it. And we go through usually like a journey type meditation where it's interactive, and we get your energy centers all back working again. And then the past life ones are near and dear to me because you actually join with that lifetime. It's that vivid of a journey meditation. And it goes back to the Jack Canfield E plus R equals O. There's the event. We can't change that. We can't change the outcome of that lifetime, but we can help you process how you responded with your emotional state of being. You could go back and rewrite that. And that's the work of that. So once you go through the meditation, then I go through the bullet point list that your soul gave you to go do, which is usually self-love, an exercise that will challenge you or stretch you a bit, and then kind of go from there. So those are 1 hour. And usually, like when I go to do my automatic writing, it takes about an hour and a half for me to really do a good, solid download. And then we meet 1-to-1. We go over that, and it's a letter from your soul. You get to keep that. I send that to you. I take you through the meditation, and they're very, very deep. They're very intimate, and I absolutely love doing them.
Wonderful.
So I'm evolving just like everyone else. So Patty Aubrey is Jack Canfield's partner, and I have taken some of her programs, and she helped me tear it out. So it's since kind of developed into, because that's how I healed, was with my angels. Let's get to know your guardian angel. So I do angel readings. Those are half an hour, and I take you through a sacred geometry meditation, and you get the recording, and you also get the meditation in written form, so you can tailor it to yourself and record it on your phone so that you can take it. Because when you listen to your voice, every cell in your body stands at attention and says, yes, ma'am.
That
yes,
I know for
ma'am.
sure.
So those are fun. And then I will entertain anything. So I will meet you where you're at and what you need. And we have, I don't want to call it an arsenal. I have a library of information that we'll tailor it to you and what you need. So are you coming out of a deep, deep depression, feeling fragile, shattered, and everybody's out to get you? Channel clearing might not be your thing. It might be, let's do some of this journaling prompts, perception work, that type of thing. So that area of my entrepreneurship is evolving. So this dear woman, Sylvia, has encouraged me not to be peeking around the corner. So I'm doing my best to, one step at a time. So where I'm at on my journey is to finish my book. I have submitted it to Hay House. I am patiently waiting. I still have a couple of chapters that I'm kind of polishing up. And it's like, don't take on anymore. You've got a beautiful platform.
Yeah.
Work with that and stop looking around the corner.
Stop looking around the corner. Yeah.
And I do monthly master classes for the angel reading program where we introduce you to your guardian angel. So those are fun classes, and we'll look at different things. Like this month, we'll be talking about creating space in two places. So in the physical home, having a sacred place for you, that's your spot, but also creating that sacred space in the heart. Wonderful. Yeah. So that's happening April 21st.
Okay. So let me ask you, what does coming home, you know that this podcast is about coming home to self, the journey. What does coming home to myself means to you?
It means it touched me dearly because when I was coming out of my healing from the second depression, I was through the divorce, and I'm like, oh man, Ann, you are just a whack job. You're just a mess. I would exercise in the morning, and then I would listen to a journey meditation. And when I was coming out of my meditation, I was sitting on the floor, and I heard a voice, and it said, welcome home. It was a man's voice. It was a familiar voice. It was my, I had a flash. I had done a sketch after my grandfather died, my paternal grandfather, and I gave it to my grandmother. So when I heard welcome home, what flashed up was that sketch. It was my grandfather saying, welcome home. Welcome home. To me, the personality wants to feel loved, accepted, and seen. And fourth, they want to go home. So it's realizing that you are home. Home is in the heart. Home is this being that you see in your eyes when you look in the mirror, not the skin and flesh. The light in your eyes when you look in that mirror, that is creation itself.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you, Ann.
And we forget to look at our eyes. We get ready, we put our makeup on, we criticize, you're this, you're that, your jowls are starting to show. And then it's like, oh, wait. Look into your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. That's right. There you are. Come home to those eyes. Yeah. The beam that's there in your eyes. It's wonderful. I love it. Yeah. Is there something else that you would have loved if I had asked you before we wrap this up?
The last golden nugget, and this is coming from the angels, coming home is loving yourself. Yeah. Learn to love yourself as the Creator sees you. And you are adored, and you are dearly loved, and you are revered, and you are celebrated every breath you take. You are so celebrated in that you are so brave for being human and being you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. This conversation has felt like an invitation, not just to listen, but to truly come home to ourselves. So thank you. And for my listeners, what I am taking away and what I hope that you will take away as you listen is this. So often we think something is wrong with us, when in truth we've simply become disconnected from who we really are. And today we heard that there is another way, a way of gently noticing, a way of releasing what no longer belongs to us, a way of taking our power back, not through force, but through awareness, responsibility, and alignment. What stood out for me is this idea that alignment isn't something far away or reserved for a select few. It's available in small, everyday moments, some of which Ann described. In how we speak to ourselves and how we look at our eyes, look into our eyes, and we see ourselves as revered, as sacred, as brave. And in whether we pause long enough to actually listen to our own soul. And if you're listening right now and something in this conversation stirred you, that's not by chance. That's awareness waking up. So here's what I want to invite you into. Let it be a beginning of paying attention, a beginning of choosing yourself again, a beginning of coming back into alignment, one small, meaningful step at a time. This conversation, if it resonated with you and you'd love to go further, book a free homecoming session with me. You will find the links in the show notes. You will also find in the show notes links to connect with Ann Klossing, our guest today. And I'm really thankful, Ann, that you're here, and thank you for your work. Thank you for what you do in this world, what you bring for others, and for being here with us today. And to you listening, thank you. This is your reminder that you are not becoming someone new, that you are coming home to who you have always been. Let that sink in. And I'll see you in the next episode. This is Homecoming to Self, the journey. Take care. If something you heard stirred your heart, I invite you to join My Sister's Circle, a private Facebook community for midlife women. This is a sacred space in which we slow down, reconnect, and rebuild confidence in community.